This is the reason why Terence Crawford would rather fight Gervonta Tank Davis and stay at 147 for Tank as opposed to staying for Jaron Boots Ennis. Now, don't get me wrong, Jaron Boots Ennis is the future of the welterweight division without a doubt. I think a lot of fighters have avoided him. I'd even go as far to say that, maybe Keith Thurman doesn't even want to fight a guy like Jaron Ennis, because that's a fight that was, talked about. That was a fight that was, very, very hyped up, because obviously Terence Crawford and Errol Spence was the fight to make, so that left, a few opponents for Jaron Ennis to fight. Who could you fight that was in the names for top welterweights? Obviously, you have Sean Porter, who was, he was up there as well, but, obviously retired. And then you have a guy like Keith Thurman, who's been inactive, but he's still in that conversation. You have, obviously, your Dennis Ugas, but after the orbital bone injury, we didn't know what was going to happen. And then Virgil Ortiz is in there, but he's still a young buck, so we wait on that. But for Gervonta Davis, he's the cash cow of boxing right now, without a doubt. We have Canelo, but in terms of people coming to watch in the United States, like selling out arenas, everyone wants to know when Gervonta Tank Davis is fighting. He's that guy, and then I think that Terence Crawford understands that. So why would I fight a guy like Jaron Ennis, don't get me wrong, he's a great fighter. He could give me a hell of a fight, but we're not going to sell the same as Terence Crawford versus Tank, and everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. No matter how good of a fight, I think Jaron Ennis is a better matchup for Terence Crawford personally. I think that's a great matchup. I still give Terence Crawford the edge, but I think it's a more competitive fight, just stylistically. I always thought that, Jaron Ennis is trouble for anybody. I think that, he's a little bit faster than Errol Spence. He might even have a little bit more power, so I think that would be a tougher fight for Terence Crawford, obviously, but fighting a guy like Tank at 147, if Tank's really about it, Tank has said on numerous occasions that he'd like to go get Bud. He doesn't like Terence Crawford, so he wants to go get him, and he said that by the 7th round, if they ever fought and I touch that chin, he's going to sleep. So those are words that I think Terence Crawford, he hears that stuff and he wants to see if Tank's really about it. So if Tank wants to go to 147, Bud said that he's willing to stay at 47 for him. But when people talk about Boots, he says like, yeah, but it doesn't really seem like he's about it. And I think it's more of a, come on guys, Terence Crawford's not ducking anybody. Let's be real. And I was the guy that picked Errol Spence to demolish Terence Crawford. But I know after seeing that kind of performance, the confidence and how locked in Terence Crawford was throughout, that entire 9-round duration and how he didn't lose focus. I know he's not ducking anybody. He wants to fight Jermell Charlo. He wants to fight Tank. I don't think he's ducking anybody. But at the end of the day, Boots still isn't, like, as good as he is. Like, I think it'd be a competitive fight. But as good as he is, it has to make sense financially, and I don't think that Boots is an opponent that makes sense financially for Terence Crawford. He just beat the guy that everyone said was going to beat him. I said that. I said Errol Spence was going to demolish Terence Crawford. Look what happened. Look what he did to Errol Spence. So I don't think he's ducking anybody. I think it just financially has to make sense for Terence Crawford, and I understand that completely. And I think that if you look at it, fighting a guy like Tank, stylistically, it's a great fight. It's a real exciting fight, and people not even in the sport of boxing would tune into that fight. Terence Crawford versus Tank on a Showtime card. That's a big fight. That's a big fight. So Terence Crawford understands that he's gonna make a lot of money if he fights Tank. So staying at 47, that weight cut would probably be. It's already tough for Terence Crawford to make 47, but he's willing to do it for Tank because that's the money fight. That's a huge money fight. He said it on the Breakfast Club with Charlemagne. It's not always about who can give me the best fight. It's also about making money. It's also about honoring your word. He said he's willing to give Errol Spence the rematch if he activates it. He wants Jermell Charlo, and he's willing to fight Tank. So that's 3 big fights, and I think that he could even go and fight Canelo if he really wanted to. And I think Terence Crawford beats Canelo at 160, and just seeing the hand speed, Canelo's declining, in terms of his prime. Canelo's not anywhere near his prime anymore. So I think that right now, especially Terence Crawford, who looks as good as he's ever looked, beats a Canelo Alvarez. And Terence Crawford versus Tank, that's a great fight. They both hit hard. They both have exciting styles that people love to watch. So no disrespect to Boots, I think he's going to be world champion at 147. But right now it's Terence Crawford's time, and he gets the luxury of picking his opponents. He's already proven that he could beat the top guy pound for pound. Now everybody wants to see him fight Boots because we all expected Errol Spence to be the guy that was going to give him a run for his money and beat him. So we can't just keep throwing out opponents and saying, oh, you beat this guy, fight this guy. Okay, you beat him, fight this guy. He has the right to choose what he wants to do. We're lucky that Terence Crawford's even still fighting. He could retire at this rate and be good. So I think Terence Crawford, if he fights Tank, that's a great fight. That's a great money fight. I don't know how Floyd would feel about that in terms of, he advises Tank for all of his fights. Al Heyman, I don't know if they'd want him to fight a guy like Terence Crawford, especially because he's projected to be such a even bigger star than he is already. So I don't know if it's a great fight for Tank. I think that he definitely has a chance because, he has that pop, he has that power. But Terence Crawford's just a bad dude right now, seeing what he did to a guy like Errol Spence, who was cream of the crop at 147. So, I like Boots Ennis, but at the end of the day, I think financially he understands why Bud would probably go in the direction of Tank, even though he's at a lower weight division. They're always going to have something to say no matter what, so why not, make the most money if you're a guy like Terence Crawford? But let me know in the comments what you guys want to see. Do you guys want to see Terence Crawford and Tank, or would you rather see Terence fight a guy like Boots? I think they're both great fights, but let me know in the comments. But thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
That's going to do it for another NASFight Media video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been your boy, Matt Nabong, with another video. Hope you guys enjoyed it all. Thank you guys for the constant support. Salute to y'all always. It's been your boy.